Men always say, "I don't understand. She just left out of nowhere." But here's the truth. Women don't leave suddenly. Attraction doesn't die in one night. It fades, little by little, until she's already halfway gone, before you even notice. So why do women leave? There are three main forces: biology, psychology, and emotional needs. 1. Biology, the ancient instinct. From a biological perspective, women are wired to seek the strongest option available. Not just physically strong, but stable, resourceful, socially valuable. For thousands of years, this wiring kept them, and their children, alive. So when a man slips, when he becomes passive, complacent, or loses ambition, her biology sends a signal. This man may not be the best option anymore. That's why women don't leave because of one fight or one bad day. They leave because deep down, something inside her is whispering, "He can't lead me anymore. He's not the man I need." 2. Psychology, the thrill of change. Women are emotional creatures, and emotion thrives on novelty. What does that mean? When things get too predictable, too routine, too safe, her mind starts to crave excitement. At first, she adored your stability. She loved your consistency. But over time, the very same things that made her feel secure can make her feel bored. And boredom is deadly to attraction. So she convinces herself she needs something different. That she deserves more passion, more energy, more fire. She starts looking elsewhere. Not always physically at first, but mentally and emotionally. And once her emotions shift, her body follows. 3. Emotional needs. The silent test. Finally, women leave when they feel unseen or unheard. It doesn't matter if you provide, protect, or stay loyal. If she feels emotionally invisible, she starts to drift. This is where many men fail. They think paying the bills, staying faithful, or just being there is enough. But women need more than physical presence. They crave leadership, guidance, and emotional connection. Without it, they feel like roommates instead of lovers. And here's the cold part. When a woman leaves, she's not doing it on a whim. By the time she physically walks out the door, she's already left you emotionally weeks, months, sometimes years before. Her departure is the final act of a long, invisible process. A process driven by biology, scanning for better genes, psychology craving novelty, and emotions starving for connection. So if women leave for these reasons, why do they come crawling back? Because biology and psychology are double-edged swords, and the very forces that push her away are the same ones that pull her back. We'll break that down in the next chapter. When a woman leaves, men feel devastation. But for her, at first it can feel like liberation. Leaving gives her a rush, a high. Think about it. She's been planning this move for weeks, maybe months. She's played it over in her head. The freedom, the fantasy of a new life, the thrill of being wanted again. By the time she actually leaves you, she's already been emotionally preparing herself. So when the door closes behind her, what does she feel? Power, validation, excitement. This is the part most men don't understand. Leaving isn't just about escaping you. It's about feeding her ego. Every DM she gets, every glance from another man, every compliment in her social circle reinforces one thing. I still have options. That sense of options is intoxicating. It's like a drug. For a short while, she feels untouchable, desired, reborn. The fantasy of upgrading. Another reason women feel high when they leave is the fantasy of trading up. She convinces herself that by leaving, she'll find a man who excites her more, listens more, or gives her more. It doesn't even matter if this man exists. The idea alone fuels her. She tells herself, "I deserve more. I can do better." That belief gives her the same rush a gambler gets walking into a casino. Maybe the next spin of the wheel will be the jackpot. Maybe the next man will be the one. The illusion of control. Here's the other truth. Walking away makes her feel like she's in control. In relationships, women often feel vulnerable. They're the ones who risk pregnancy, who invest emotionally, who tie their security to the man they choose. So when she leaves, even if it's painful, she feels like she's regaining control. Like she's proving to herself she doesn't need anyone. But here's the part she doesn't see right away. That high doesn't last. Like any drug, the rush fades. The attention from new men becomes shallow. The freedom starts to feel like loneliness. And the fantasy of upgrading often collides with harsh reality. The new men aren't investing. They're not chasing. They're not offering the stability, the commitment, or the emotional depth she once had. What felt like power turns into emptiness. What felt like control turns into regret. That's why the high of leaving always crashes. And when it does, the memories of the man she left behind come crawling back into her mind. And that's where things get interesting. Because the same psychology that gave her a rush when she left is the same psychology that pulls her back to you. That's what we'll uncover in the next chapter. At first, leaving felt like freedom, like she stepped out of a cage and into the sunlight. But then, reality sets in. And reality is never as sweet as the fantasy. You see, when a woman leaves a man, she's often chasing an illusion. The illusion that the next guy will be more exciting, more romantic, more powerful, or that the single life will shower her with endless attention and validation. But here's the truth she can't escape. The new men she meets don't care the way you did. They don't invest. They don't chase. They don't offer stability. And slowly, the cracks start to show. At first, the DMs flood in. Compliments, likes, new admirers. But that attention is shallow. It's surface level. It doesn't carry the weight of real connection. She begins to realize that most of these men aren't trying to build with her. They're just looking for fun. And that freedom she was celebrating, it starts to feel like emptiness. The grass isn't greener. This is where the harsh reality check hits hardest. She thought the grass would be greener. She thought she'd be happier without you. But the truth is, the grass was only greener because she was watering it with fantasy. And when the fantasy fades, she sees the reality for what it is. Uncertain, unstable, lonely. The comparison game. And here's the kicker. Women compare. Always. Every new man she meets gets silently measured against you. How you treated her. The security you gave her. Even the memories of your presence, whether good or bad. They all become the standard. And very few men measure up. This is the stage where nostalgia kicks in. The little things she once ignored suddenly seem valuable. The way you protected her. The way you provided consistency. The way you made her feel safe in a world that's chaotic. And that's when the first cracks in her decision begin to appear. Not because she suddenly loves you more, but because she realizes what she left behind can't easily be replaced. Finally, there's the ego crash. Leaving you gave her power. But when that power fades, when the new guys lose interest, when the validation dries up, she's left with a void. And in that void, regret grows. That regret is what drives women back. Not love, not loyalty, but the cold realization that the fantasy was never real. And that's why, after the harsh reality sets in, she starts circling back to the very man she left behind. In the next chapter, we'll break down exactly why she comes crawling back, and why it has less to do with romance and everything to do with psychology. So she left. She thought she upgraded. She thought freedom and attention would fill the void. But when the high wears off, when reality sets in, something strange happens. she comes crawling back. Men mistake this moment. They think it means she realised she loves you, that she finally understood your value. But that's not the truth. The real reason women come back isn't romance. It's biology, psychology, and ego colliding. 1. Biology, the pull of security. Deep down, women are wired to seek security, not just financial security, but emotional and social safety. When she left, she thought she'd find something better. But when she didn't, her biology starts screaming, "Go back to the man who made you feel safe." Even if she didn't love you the same way, she remembers the comfort of your presence, the reliability, the structure, and biology will push her back towards stability when chaos surrounds her. 2. Psychology, the ego's safety. Net. When the new options don't pan out, her ego takes a hit. She expected men to line up and compete for her. She expected endless validation. But when those doors close, her ego looks for shelter. That's where you come in. Reaching out to you, the man she left, restores some of her lost pride. It makes her feel wanted again. It's not about love. It's about repairing her sense of worth. 3. Nostalgia, selective memory. Over time, her mind edits the story. She forgets the boredom, the arguments, the reasons she left. Instead, she remembers the safety, the laughs, the late nights, the moments you made her feel special. This selective memory becomes fuel. And suddenly, she convinces herself, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I made a mistake. 4. Power dynamics, testing the waters. Here's the darker side. Sometimes crawling back isn't even about wanting you. It's about testing if she still has access. If she can come back and you accept her instantly, it proves she still has power over you. It proves you never moved on. And to her ego, that's intoxicating. So when she comes back, don't be fooled. It isn't love reborn. It's biology pulling her towards safety. It's psychology craving validation. It's nostalgia rewriting the past. And it's her ego testing whether you're still on the hook. Most men fail here. They take her back instantly, thinking they've won. But the truth is, this is the most dangerous moment. Because how you respond when she crawls back will determine whether you rise into power or fall into her cycle again. In the next chapter, we'll reveal the trap most men fall into when she returns, and why it destroys their confidence. This is the moment that decides everything. Not when she leaves, not when she talks to other men, not when she ignores your worth. The defining moment is when she crawls back, because your response will either set you free or chain you to her cycle forever. The prison response. Instant gratification. Most men fail here. They've been hurting, waiting, obsessing over her return. So when she finally sends that "hey" text, their dopamine spikes like fireworks. They answer in seconds. They clear their schedule. They welcome her back with open arms. And in that instant, they lose all power. Why? Because they just told her, you can abandon me, disrespect me, leave me for dead, and I'll still accept you the second you call. That's not love. That's prison. A cycle where she knows she can toy with your emotions and still be rewarded. And once she knows that, she'll never see you as the man she respects. The power response, calm detachment. The men who rise above rejection respond differently. They don't chase. They don't fold. They don't let her return inflate their ego. They stay calm, detached, unshaken. Maybe they don't answer right away. Maybe they set boundaries. Maybe they don't even respond at all. This is power, because power comes from choice. When she sees you don't need her, when she realizes her return doesn't control you, the dynamic flips. Suddenly, she's the one chasing. Powerful men don't just play hard to get. They communicate standards. They make it clear. If you want a place in my life, there are rules. Respect, consistency, loyalty. And if you can't give that, the door closes forever. That's not manipulation. That's self-respect. And women can feel it. They know when they're dealing with a man who won't tolerate being treated as an option. Here's the hidden gift. When she crawls back and you stand firm, you prove something to yourself. That rejection doesn't control you. That you can face loss, survive it, and still hold your value. And that lesson is priceless, because it doesn't just change how women see you, it changes how you see yourself. So remember this. Her return isn't the victory. Your response is, play it wrong, and you're her prisoner forever. Play it right, and you step into power. The kind of power that makes women chase, respect, and never forget you. Here's the truth no one tells you. Moving on isn't about forgetting her. It's about remembering yourself. Because the hardest part of rejection isn't losing her. It's losing the version of you that believed she was your only path to happiness. Most men never move on. Not really. They distract themselves, chase new women, drown in work, or numb the pain with vices. But deep down, they're still waiting. Still hoping she'll come back. Still replaying the past like a broken record. This isn't moving on, it's paralysis. And it keeps you trapped in the shadow of a woman who already walked away. The first step is perspective. You have to reframe rejection from loss into feedback. Ask yourself, what did this reveal about me? Maybe you were too needy. Maybe your confidence depended on her validation. Maybe you didn't yet embody the man you want to be. When you see rejection as a teacher instead of a punishment, you stop clinging to the past. You start building a future. Here's the secret weapon: purpose. When you live with direction, when your days are filled with growth, mission and ambition, women stop being the center of your world. You don't need her text to feel alive. You don't need her validation to feel valuable. Because your life itself is proof of your worth. Purpose is the foundation. Without it, you'll always chase women to fill the hole inside. With it, you become magnetic. Not because you need them, but because they sense you don't. Moving on also means stepping into abundance. When you expand your circle, build connections, and create options, one woman's rejection loses all power over you. Think about it. If you have 10 doors open, one door closing doesn't matter. But if you only had one, that rejection feels like death. Abundance isn't about collecting women. It's about living a life so full that you know, deep down, you will always have options. And this is where men transform. When you move on, you gain the ultimate freedom, emotional independence. She can leave, she can return, she can play games, but none of it controls you anymore because your identity isn't tied to her. It's anchored in yourself. Moving on doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop bleeding. It means you stop waiting for her to define your worth. It means you choose life, growth and purpose over the chains of the past. And when you do, that's when rejection loses all its power. That's when you stop being a victim of her choices and become the author of your own.